already creating adult content on Fansly.
That is a wild ad.
I'm not here to defend the Fansly being on here. I'm only fighting back on the hypocritical stuff, because I think that's a load of horseradish.
You clearly have your own personal boundaries on this issue. I think you should be more open and more honest about
This
it.
video is a masterclass in obfuscation. Now we're talking about poker.
This has turned into, I guess, legitimate conflict. I wasn't even familiar or aware of what was going on.
You know, some like iconic meltdown. I mean, there's always good meltdowns. That would be an interesting category.
Scan the QR for exclusive behind-the-scenes content and a free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today at fansly.com.
After a Mario Kart ad for kids, not a single word is spoken.
That isn't even allowed to have on Twitch. I didn't know the ad was saying creating adult content. Wait, listen.
Already creating adult content on Fansly.
That was f***ing weird. When this happened, do you guys remember? I literally put my cam like this and I went full screen because that was weird. Like I understand that it's a sponsor, but like it's literally a website. Isn't that against like TOS or some shit? It's weird. They put literally a sideshow of them dancing and doing some weird shit.
Complained to Trainwrecks about giving a 24-hour ban to Aiden Ross for showing poop to his audience.
Any transfer or attempt to transfer sexual utility to a minor under the age of 16, including over the internet, is punishable under the federal law.
But when his best friend Cutie does an OnlyFans ad,
On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on
While
Fansly.
streaming, Aiden Ross decided to go to Pornhub to make a point about how you can do anything on the site. Showed porn
MoistCr1tikal will get called out as well.
to his audience. And keep in mind, a lot of his audience is very young. They're minors. They're actual children. In the stream title, I believe he had 18 plus there, which I guess is a legal safety net for him to fall back on.
No age restriction, yeah. Apparently, there was very limited age verification when you went over onto Fansly.
I think that she's right about this. I think that both of them are advertising pornography and explicit content for kids. You cannot tell me that advertising Fansly and then giving examples of streamers that produce explicit content on Fansly, how are you not going to say that's not promoting it? I've talked to QTCinderella multiple times. I've met her before. She's been really nice to me, and I like her. I think she's great. So I don't want to shit on her or anything like that. But I do think that, yeah, of course, they're going to be about the same.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy. She actually has a good point there, using their own words as well. It was a smart thing. Rare Moistel.
What was Cutie? I'm not up with the drama. I don't know any of these people. Let's see. The Twitch Streamer Awards by Cutie was sponsored by Fansly, which is an alternative to OnlyFans. And she talked about how everyone is silent about showing Fansly ads to kids, but they were criticizing other people not in their own groups. Yeah, it seems really freaking odd to have an award show. Like streaming, as far as I understand it, it's a pretty young audience in general. Imagine if Pornhub sponsored it. Like, can you imagine? Even if Pornhub sponsored like the Oscars or the Game Awards, we'd be like, the hell?
Is there any clips of the big streamers reacting to that video? I'd imagine they'd be pretty pissed off, wouldn't they? Normally they don't like it when people point stuff like that out.
MoistCr1tikal says, advertising Fansly to a young audience will always be another good decision.
Why do I keep getting this question? Why are you okay with QT taking adult content money on Twitch, but not anyone outside your group? I didn't realize that was my group. You realize I've never talked to QT, like, in my life outside of DMs? What are you talking about? Are you talking about the Mukitty video? I didn't know that was like legitimate arguments people were making, because that's all real bad faith shit. So for example, I was called out because I pointed out Aiden Ross streamed porn to his audience on Kick. I was like, that's weird. And then it was hypocrisy because I laughed when Fansly was shown at the Streamer Awards. How is that comparable? They're both bad for kids. Yeah, but one of them's immediately in their face. The other one is they have to go sign up and then say they're 18 years or older to access the porn on Fansly, it was advertising porn, sure, but you'd still have to go out of your way to access it.
Okay, so he's not looked into this at all, has he?
And letting them know that they could sign up with their Twitch.
Wait, wait. Is there a Twitch OAuth login for Fansly? No shot.
Yep, they said you could sign up using your Twitch account. That's literally in the advertisement itself.
No, wait, hold on, I've got to look at that. There's no way that's true. Oh my god, there is! You can sign in with your Twitch OAuth for Fansly? But if you list a Fansly in your Twitch profile, don't you get banned?
You do. But apparently you could advertise it on your streamer awards.
I'm curious, if you make an account, you put the age as 14, and then you try to sign up for Fansly. Will it age gate you, or will it just let you go?
I'm pretty sure Moist himself acknowledged the fact that there isn't that great of a protection when it comes to stopping younger people from signing up to Fansly. So you could, so I'm assuming you could 100% sign up to Fansly even if you're underage.
As we saw in that clip, you could go from a Twitch to Fansly within a couple of clicks. Whilst, again, I would happily say that showing the porn thing is worse, there is still nowhere near enough division between Twitch to Fansly in this situation.
The clips shown in Fansly are more clothed than what you see on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category.
If somebody is in a full bathing suit, it's still not the same tier as advertising direct nudity. There's a difference between being in a bathing suit and advertising being fully naked. There is a nuance here that's important.
Why are you talking about this? Because that video, it seemed like it was just supposed to be a joke, but it looks like a lot of people are really running with that narrative of it's completely hypocritical that I had laughed at Fansly being at the Streamer Awards and said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up actual Pornhub on his stream out of nowhere.
No, okay. The criticism isn't that just that you laughed, it's that you are not willing to engage in a critique of something which one would expect you to critique based on other actions, and the belief is that because you've got a business association with Ludwig. And the thing about it is he is featured in the video, but I don't think he's like even like the focus or the substantive criticism of the video. It's more of a passing thing of saying, you know, MoistCr1tikal isn't calling this out or criticizing this. Even QTCinderella is not jumping through these hoops. I didn't realize she'd covered it in a stream and responded in a stream. She said she took the money because she needed it to run the show.
I saw a lot of people were upset that I took a porn ad. However, I support sex work. I think sex work is fine. Some people were comparing it to gambling. I just think of it differently. I think that's different. I need to pay for the event. It's that or not paying for the event. So what? There you go.
You realize she could justify taking a state sponsorship by this logic.
Fansly has always been so supportive of me, and you know I support what they create. I was okay with taking the sponsor. I felt fine with it. So
she has accepted that she took the money and did it because purely she needed the money to run the show.
Her comparison was asked, but the point of a Fansly ad being bad for a minor-based audience still holds. Well, then extend it to all of Twitch, because minors can easily just go to the hot tubs category right now, and you get a lot more pornography out of that than that one Fansly ad.
Not necessarily.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, well. Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans, or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah.
A Fansly with a bleached on direct view is not the same as somebody wearing a bikini, and equating the bikini to pornography is factually incorrect. Therefore, the argument falls flat, and Charlie is wrong. That's it. Checkmate. Now,
Twitch hypocrisy development. What's this?
Let's watch his new video. So he did a video called Hypocrisy.
You debated Fansly about a YouTube video that involved you and Cutie. Wait, what did I do? I have never, like, how am I even remotely involved in any of this? There was a lady who made a YouTube video about the Streamer Awards. She was saying you were hypocritical because you rallied against Aiden streaming, but Cutie advertised Fansly. What? Here's the video they're debating.
Yeah, I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. We're gonna talk about a controversial topic, Fansly advertisements on Twitch. The situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch.
I saw that.
I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QTCinderella to watch party them.
Yeah.
This was a massive event that QTCinderella put together. During the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
Using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly.
That is a wild ad. I thought Twitch didn't allow that kind of fucking promo. Twitch literally won't let, hot tub streamers post their fucking OnlyFans.
Your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly.
oh my god. Wait, they say adult content. Yo! I didn't know they just flat out say It's meant for that.
I scanned. You missed it? Oh, here. This is where it is. Don't worry. Boop. Just kidding. Don't do it. Don't do it.
People were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up
And shitting
arms
all over it,
about
yeah.
Charlie is a f***ing hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QTCinderella.
Yeah.
When I first heard this argument, I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people would try to compare these two things.
Yes, that is absolutely f***ing insane. Making a comparison to Aiden Ross knowingly showing graphic material on his stream is not only completely ridiculous, but maybe even possibly illegal.
Whilst it's not Aiden Ross show, look, I'm pretty sure we're all going to agree that the Aiden Ross thing is like, what? Of course we are. You can still recognize what Aiden Ross did as bad whilst criticizing this. It's like one or the other or something. It's just not at all.
I think they're about the same, personally. I think. Is it exactly the same thing? No. Is what Aiden Ross did a little bit worse? Yes. But they're both on the same spectrum, which is showing to people. Advertising cigarettes versus smoking is a big difference. But like if somebody was advertising cigarettes to kids, I don't think people would be a big fan of that either, especially if the advertisement was following a Mario Kart commercial. And you have to keep in mind that, like, it's not like this was Google AdSense or whatever. This was planned programming.
Not everyone watching wants to see on their gamer streams. A safe for work ad is way less offensive. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's also the consent conversation, because like you might not want to see that. You know what I mean? But I guess that's a little bit larger of a philosophical debate.
Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category.
I love Charlie, but this is where he falls flat on his face. If he understands the nuance between Aiden and QT, then he understands the nuance between Twitch and Fansly.
That was the whole point of that. That's something XQC didn't quite understand, calling me wrong, saying that there's not a bleached right away or something on hot tubs category, thus checkmate. Hits me with the scholar's mate.
It is a checkmate though. Oh, he went there. He went there.
So I viewed the advertisement very differently than a lot of people, because even when you scan the QR code, you still don't immediately get porn. There's already a lot of degrees of separation and a lot of obstacles to go through.
Definitely it's true that it's not immediate. And that's why I said that the Aiden Ross thing was worse. But it's still a direct call to action to subscribe to on a stream.
Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it.
Yeah, but it's a call to action to do it. Even though there are barriers, and I get that, there's still a call to action when interact with adult products. And now they're on this topic again, fuck y'all motherfuckers. Because throughout all the Gamba shit, there has been zero call to action, and on the opposite, there's been call to actions of the opposite.
To leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it.
I would also say that that's the exact thing that you could say for Stake too. Like, you don't immediately start gambling on Stake, you have to make an account, and there's a bunch of barriers to entry with that as well. But people are still not okay with Stake.
But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is extremely easily accessible for anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So, I made the comparison that the Fansly ad...
Okay, so this is good. It's good to see him relent on this. Good for MoistCr1tikal for, like, changing his position on something with new information. But here's the problem. In his segment yesterday, or whenever it wasn't yesterday, so whenever it was, there was none of this kind of like, oh, I better go and look into this. It was defend my friends before even looking into it in any meaningful way.
But yeah, in closing, I feel like there is no real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub weird and didn't immediately start calling out how weird it was for Fansly to be a sponsor of the Streamer Awards.
I don't think they're very different, but I do think they are different. How big of a difference? It's like, because a lot of the arguments that were being made for why Fansly is different, they could be made for gambling on Stake. But that was bad under the same logic. So why are we not applying the same logic to Fansly? I don't understand that.
Faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical. I feel like the two
I mean, he took this issue that's like that he could have made like a much larger conversation about and just only talked about his own perspective and how he's like not hypocritical, which kind of in a weird way dumps a lot of offsets a lot of the blame over to QTCinderella. I mean, he's not doing that actually. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think he's like dumping all of the major point of contention over to other people, but like he is purposely washing himself away from this. It is a lukewarm take. It is a very centrist take. And especially odd coming from a guy who has Adam and Eve sponsorships, which he neglected to mention in this YouTube video. You clearly have your own personal boundaries on this issue. I think you should be more open and more honest about it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, own it, you know? Own it.
Still like Charlie? Yeah, I mean, obviously it's different. Like what he's saying is, I think that Charlie absolutely is in the right to make a video like this, even if like I feel like it's not as different as he's leading on to. At least I don't think it is. Yeah, I mean, having conversations like this, you know, it can be like annoying because people will constantly like try to like hyper fixate on like, oh, you need to be consistent on stuff or whatever.
You would have been called a bigger hypocrite if he didn't respond at all. There's a way to respond to this without responding to it like that, in my opinion. Like this has turned into, I guess, legitimate conflict. I wasn't even familiar or aware of what the was going on.
I said this before. I think he needs to be much clearer about the business relationships that he's got. I know people will say, oh, well, people will know that. People will know that. Some people might, but not everyone will. And I think that if you know that he's got this business relationship with Ludwig, it enables you to understand a lot more clearly why some of this stuff might be happening. Because no one wants to criticize the girlfriend of their business partner at the end of the day. Oh, what did XQC say?
Very important, in my opinion, that QT had 18+ tag on the stream that they were streaming it, right? Did they have or not the 18 tag when going to QT's stream on that day? Then that is a massive problem. Not throwing a bit in the bus, but I think there's still a level of accountability that if there is a barrier to put in and you're not using it, well, I mean,
no real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up. Brings the resub Flappy. What's up? X talking about you right now? Oh, about the new video? What are his thoughts? They are just not the same, and it's really silly to pretend that they are. They are very different. And yeah, that's about it, really. Just wanted to talk about it.
Okay, I'll come on Discord now, because I genuinely don't agree with them. I don't agree with them at all.
Debate X, sure. I'm down to talk.
Sup?
Hey, what's the sit rep? Lay it on me.
Oh, no, I wasn't in a video. There's just some stuff that I gathered. I'm a visual person, right? A visual. So when I said checkmate, also 6 moves, good one, by the way.
All right, and the game just got started, so... You know when I said it'd be fun to see a checkmate in 4 earlier, I was joking.
Okay, I'm not gonna get there. Anyway, your point is, in your video, right? In your video,
yeah.
People don't understand how much there's unpacking this. There's a lot of components in this. There's a lot of components.
Yeah, very nuanced, very nuanced.
What's this?
Or whatever. I feel like there's already extra degrees of separation on that front as well.
Oh, is this a debate? Is this a debate between the two of them?
There's any merit to claiming that I'm hypocritical for calling Aiden Ross pulling up porn, which was on stream out of nowhere at random, versus a advertisement which had no sexual content in it whatsoever until you went to the site and then signed up.
You know what? I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and defend you on this one. I mean, I don't think it's hypocritical either. The issue that I had is at one point you say that on Twitch, even if you're young, you can just click on the category like hot tub and you're gonna see nudity. But then I gotta fire back at you where you said Mark you did earlier. You take the content that's being pushed towards and call to action to consume. If you would have put that in the category, well, now you would get banned.
Yeah, but I don't see the relevance to the overall. The reason I brought up the hot tub streaming was just to point out that content that was shown by the Fansly advertisement is not content that is actually worse than what Twitch is already advertising, which is hot tub streams. Like I said, it's kind of weird to focus the outrage on that advertisement for the content of the advertisement when it's not worse than what's already here. Now, going to where it's advertising, that is a problem. Like I said, I didn't know this at the time. You would only think you could access that content at 18 plus through a verification check, which apparently Fansly doesn't really do.
I got that. I just thought that you would have tried to investigate the fact that it would be kind of weird for a QT stream to advertise and make a call to action to enact with a product that's 18 plus without having the 18 plus tag on her own stream she broadcasted.
So you're saying for the overall stream, having an 18 plus due to the sponsor having explicit content?
Absolutely.
See, that's a totally fine argument to make, but that's not one that Mukitty was making against me. I'm only fighting back on the hypocritical stuff, because I think that's a load of horseradish. I'm not here to defend the Fansly being on here. Like I said multiple times now, I think both are probably not the best decision. I agree. You could have absolutely had an 18 plus somewhere in there. Absolutely. That wasn't the point of the video, though.
So the good parallel is that in terms of safeguards, crypto Gamba sites are the most inaccessible of almost all content out there. You have to submit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about some of these. When it comes to safeguards against gambling, against a kid accessing it, I think that gambling is probably the most safeguarded thing of all. And there are tons of barriers in place that will stop a kid from going and gambling stuff.
So after you do KYC,
wait, listen, I'm not a gambling fan. Do not gamble. Gambling is bad. But in terms of this argument, I think the point this HCC is trying to make, the reason that gambling is bad on Twitch is because it affects kids. Right? That was one of the big arguments that was made.
To be honest, I don't know how we got to gambling. I was going to let you cook on it if you wanted to. So then the grand point you're making to kind of relate it back is in terms of safeguards, and you're using gambling safeguards as okay, gotcha, as an example of strong safeguards. Okay, there's certainly a conversation to be had about the effectiveness of safeguards and how we can make them stronger. None of that was at all what I talked about. Again, it was all just about the hypocritical claims that I was tackling.
Okay.
I think the reality is though that there's quite a clear line that XQC is trying to make, and maybe XQC could make that clearer. He doesn't want to engage with it in like a meaningful way. I don't know.
I like making what we call analogies that apply one-to-one, right?
Oh God, here we go.
To try to simplify
of
UFC,
XQC,
right?
stop.
Which is
Enough.
Sign a waiver. They voluntarily go to fight, right? Right?
Yeah.
So that's how it
absolutely.
It is the 3FA.
3FA, baby.
That's right. That's right. Okay, I'm out, bro.
All right, man. Good conversation. Have a good stream.
Yeah. That's right. You too, man.
I think that was productive. I always enjoy our little talks. Things got a little weird for a minute in there. Overall, I think that was a good conversation. 3FA, baby.
Guys, the thing is, okay, Charlie cared a lot about not looking like a hypocrite. Nobody wants to look like a hypocrite. He cared a lot about hypocrisy. So he kept reeling back towards not being a hypocrite. I wasn't going to devalidate his feeling about not being a hypocrite because I don't think he is. Okay? I just thought that he would want to talk about semantics, but he didn't want to. I don't think he wanted to speak about the base of the semantics. That's all. Fair enough. Get there? Right?
Oh, another connection you could make as well. There was all this soying out about the gambling stuff. And then during the Streamer Awards, there was an advert, which was for KFC, admittedly, but it featured gambling in a very positive light.
Healer wins.
Come on, Lud. Let's just get out of here.
I want to double down.
That's a sandwich.
Yeah, this is real. This is a real ad they played.
It plays.
Gambling's fun and cool, guys. Let's go. Look how fun it is. The stakes are so high, but it's so rewarding.
Blackjack.
It's unreal.
I don't understand. Did he win, like, money?
Honestly, it makes me feel like they're doing it to take the piss. Kings and queens up in their castle laughing at all the peasants.
I have once again gotten myself into some drama. For some context, if you missed MoistCr1tikal's video yesterday, he talked about some streamer drama that's been going on and gave his take on it. The entire conversation has stemmed from the Streamer Awards, my girlfriend's event, and all the Fansly hate has been directed at her. And then me, with my chess boxing event, that the primary sponsor, the biggest funder of it was Fansly. So I figured rather than just lie down and imagine none of it's happening, I'd at least give my opinion, my take on it. During the Streamer Awards, which was also sponsored by Fansly, this ad was played.
Free trial of some of our hottest creators.
Bro, this shit is giving this particular sponsor so much more earned media, by the way.
Streamers are already...
Look at that. I'm pretty sure Luxury Girl is like a literal star. I mean, it's XXX. Look, it's XXX in the name.
Now, to wrap up real quickly the Streamer Awards thing, here's Cutie reacting to the ad.
And a free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign
Probably should have seen these ads before he played them.
in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly.
She's honest there. She said she didn't look at these ads before they're played, which sometimes that's how sponsors operate.
Probably should have seen these ads before he played them.
In using your Twitch.
Yeah, that ad is definitely. I mean, that ad is not great. Okay, that's not a good ad. Literally, we're like, here, scan the QR code so you can look at all this other shit. Here's the major difference, though. They're supposed to look at your demographics and at least do their due diligence and not work with content creators who have an audience that has. I don't remember what the exact percentage is, but they're not supposed to work with audiences that have a percentage, overwhelmingly under 18. Yeah, 3% of the audience is under the age of 18. 3%. There you go. That's it. That makes the most sense.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy these figures. Because the other thing as well is like, if you're a kid and if you want to watch 18 plus content, then you're not going to say you're under 18 because you won't be able to watch it.
No one is putting their age below 18 when creating an account. I guess that could be true. But there's no real way of getting around that beyond it.
But me watching them, I'm like, oh, okay, so chess boxing was presented by Fansly. Title sponsor, literally in the title itself. I had a whole dramatic reveal.
What's going on in the middle of the ring? Look up. Because we have the Fansly Sky table. Holy smokes!
You can't get more dramatic. Look at me.
This table will be where the magic happens.
I had people cheering for a goddamn table.
I think it's also because it's cutie. She's controversial. She's a woman. So, that's part of the reason. Germa has probably been sponsored by Fansly as well. XQC has been sponsored by Fansly. The show that he did was sponsored by Fansly, no?
Oh, my God.
There's like a personalized dance. It's kind of nice and chill. It's like good content. It's something you would get on Fansly if you would.
True.
All right.
Very true.
In my defense, listen. I'm not gonna shit on Lud in my own show. I had generally zero knowledge of Fansly being a sponsor. Nor did I sign anything with Fansly. Nor did I ever see a singular dollar from Fansly. None of it, zero. I ever had knowledge of it prior or signed for. Yep.
XQC literally has been sponsored by Fansly. Juice, the show that he did. XQC did a show and partnered with Ludwig that was sponsored, and he had no idea what the sponsor was or what it entailed.
That's not where it's ended. I mean, obviously, Germa's used Fansly before, which he was on the stage with me. Fansly Instant Replay from his baseball event. And then in a show that I hosted with XQC Juiced, I got Fansly as the sponsor. That was the main sponsor that we were able to secure.
Also, I was not mad at me for calling him out, okay? I didn't want to throw him under the bus for not knowing about the sponsor. He knows. The way I worded it was fine. I just hope he's not molding.
Got Fansly as the sponsor. That was the main sponsor that we were able to secure.
I wanted to feel bad for
originally the sponsor that. But here's a point to talk about. What is okay and not okay to use as a sponsor? It's what is aligned with your ethics and morals. What you personally think is okay. Now, for me, maybe this is my European background. I care less about porn. I care less about nudity.
My European background, oh my God, motherfucker, you grew up in New Hampshire, dog. It's your libertarian roots that is causing you not to care about porn.
Maybe this is my European background. I care less about porn. I care less about nudity. We should stop.
Okay, first of all, I'm from Europe. Okay, I'm from Europe. Even over here, we've got age limits on what kids can look at and stuff.
This yee ass motherfucker puts on a turtleneck, has his hair all coiffed, and he goes, maybe it's because of my European background. Oui. It's like, maybe that is the reason. Who knows? I like the tete,
As someone that is European, I know people will be, oh, but you're from the UK. Yes, it's in Europe, okay? We left the EU, but we're in Europe, all right? We don't think kids should watch. Where is this coming from? This idea in America, European background. Yeah, we still... Even in mainland Europe, people are still like, oh yeah, we don't want kids watching like full-blown. That's a bit much, isn't it?
He said maybe it's because of my European background. Yes.
Also, what was his take on Twitch gambling? Okay. So you do care about kids when it's gambling. That You care about it then, apparently. Then it's time to defend kids.
I don't give a about the kids. I don't have this in my mind, a group of kids who I'm concerned about saving, and that's how I decide every moral or ethical decision. I don't cater my content directly towards kids. I do a lot of gambling. I do a lot of drinking. I do a lot of swearing. I wouldn't...
For the record, I don't disagree with this. But this is very New Hampshire libertarian, by the way. Live free or die ass motherfucker talking about how he's European. Yeah, I agree. Especially if you have content that is not supposed to be tailored towards children. The idea that like, oh, dude, think about the children is ridiculous.
I used to take a poker sponsor. I only stopped because not my ethics and morals, but it would be too hard to argue against sponsored gambling, specifically for slots. And then still allow sponsored poker, which I view as different. That's a different line to me, which some people might call me crazy for.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
And then still allow sponsored poker, which I view as different, which some people might call me crazy for.
I don't even think that's all that crazy either, for the record. Gambling is still gambling. But yes, poker I would put in a totally different category.
The way I see it is sponsored gambling, like slots or blackjack, has a house edge. It is an inevitable fact. The longer you play, the more money you will lose. And sponsored gambling is a little weird because I'm getting paid by this sponsor to gamble money I normally would not gamble.
That is me, but I agree with that. I agree with the opposite. I'm okay with that.
I think that's weird. I think all sponsored gambling should stop. Having said that, I've never been against gambling content as a whole. If you go back to any of the videos I made about gambling, I always said end sponsored gambling, not end gambling. I have a new rule, a new guideline that I think would solve gambling online and gambling on Twitch. No sponsored gambling streams. It's a simple rule. Do not allow sponsored gambling streams. All right, get rid of sponsored gambling. I think it's such an easy solution. Get rid of sponsored gambling. I feel like that solves it because gambling is clearly here to stay in society, at least in America, and it's going to be hard to go against that, but it doesn't have to be sponsored. I love poker. Poker is one of the main games I played in college, and so I took poker sponsorships because you're playing against another human.
As far as like what I have done throughout my experience, I would say that slots is the most on steroids. You're basically giving money to the casino directly. Poker, where you're not giving money to the house, you're literally giving money to whoever the fuck is significantly better than you at poker.
But you can still be a very winning player if you have studied more, and of course, you have luck and variance on your side. Anyway, but that's...
Yo, poker is 100% gambling. It just is. The population who plays poker as a whole don't make money out of poker. That's just the way it is, okay? You have to play it perfectly. You have to be good. You have to be calm. You need to have emotional control and understand the concept of mathematical variance. It's a numbers game. You got unlucky, you have to play to the variance. That's just how poker is. But at the end of the day, that's not what most people are, and you're not making money. So it's gambling.
That's kind of where my line is, right? What about people who are sponsored by...
Yes. Look, this video is a masterclass in obfuscation. Now we're talking about poker. Who gives a shit about poker? None of this was ever about poker at all. And we spent 10 minutes talking about poker. I'm getting bamboozled by it too. But it's okay because we're bringing it back round. The fact that there's a business partnership between Moist and Ludwig, unaddressed. The fact that this is something that is being promoted more than likely to children, when all of these people are freaked out about gambling being promoted to children, unaddressed. All of the key best arguments completely unaddressed in all of this. And what are we talking about? Poker.
Not a game. We talking about
poker. Now we're talking about poker and gambling sponsorships.
I don't take a lot of sponsors for things that I'm against using, but sometimes I also break that too, right? I was sponsored by G Fuel for a while, but I was still drinking coffee every morning. Now I'm no longer sponsored by them because I think they're kind of a piece of shit company, but a lot of the streamers who are sponsored by G Fuel don't even drink that shit. It's way too much caffeine and taurine, and they just get a little cup of coffee in the morning, and then they pretend to drink G Fuel. Do you think that's chill? What about people who are sponsored by gacha games? You know, do you think that's chill? What about free to download extensions that save you deals but might also sell your data? Is that chill to advertise? I think the reality is that everybody will draw the line right below what they do, and everything above that line is okay with them. But the power of the viewer is to change that line. So if you see a streamer or creator that you like, tell them to lift that line. You tell them to get a little more strict. I'm an open guy. I'm down for a conversation to figure out what's what. In my mind, an adult-oriented site doesn't bother me. I think porn is chill, and people can look at porn in a site like Fansly where the creator directly profits off of it, as opposed to all the shit that happens on the more conventional sites like Pornhub.
Again, I'm not sure if the criticism is just having Fansly as a sponsorship. He has, in the course of 12 minutes, totally shifted the conversation to whether or not it's acceptable to take sponsors.
A literal...
I get it. Here's what he did. Lud did this. The problem is the porn part, and the fact that kids watch. When these things align, that's a problem. This video, in my opinion, I think Ludwig, what he did, he found a loophole. He explained one, explained another, and then it seems like they don't line up in the same instance. He explained how to sponsor, and then the kid thing. So then it's like one and one instead of like both at the same time. So the problem is both at the same time. That's the problem.
I know people disagree with this, right? But a lot of people, especially the fans, are going to think Aiden Ross was really bad for watching on Kick. So they're going to focus on that because that's the easiest argument to make for them. You're calling me a hypocrite for this, but what Aiden Ross did was worse, which is something that's fairly agreeable. They're not actually addressing and talking about the key criticisms.
On this, I've been rambling for a little bit now, but I hope you have a good one.
So, okay, so I agree with his half. The only problem is that you take a sponsor that has a porn and you want to say fuck it. If I have kid viewers, so be it. But you have to make sure that at least cover your ass with the safeguards that are available. So using 18 plus, even though it's a small thing, and the tag and the title, I think that's called covering your ass. It's the bar for the minimum that you should be doing. But if you don't do that, then the argument that it's aligned can be made and probably will be made, probably make you look bad. Does that make sense or not?
I mean, everybody kind of knows, but at least like setting up one layer of like inconvenience is probably the right thing to do. It's basically about like making it a little bit less accessible, right? It's not like a real safeguard or anything like that, but at least like adding an additional click there makes it a little bit better.
All I'm trying to do is be a good person to the world and make things that I find entertaining and I watch. That's it. So anyway,
yeah, I mean, I understand why he's saying that. I get that. I still am kind of unsure as to what the fuck's going on with respect to like the perceived hypocrisy, but the one thing that is the worst thing you can do on the internet, be perceived as a hypocrite, okay? Hypocrisy only matters because it's vibes based. Hypocrisy just means I don't like you for some reason. Yeah, no, it's like all vibes based for the most part.
I mean, yeah, I somewhat agree that like people will claim hypocrisy sometimes when it maybe isn't particularly relevant. But in this case, I feel like it's not just false claims of hypocrisy. I feel like there is a very direct thing happening which is in opposition to someone's purported principles.
If people are uncharitable to you, they will say you're hypocritical. If they are charitable to you and like your content, they will overlook, even if you are actually hypocritical. Ultimately, none of it matters. It's basically just a gotcha, okay? And that's it.
What's this? Is that a real advert? This is a Super Bowl commercial that CBS rejected. It was actually rejected by CBS. I mean, isn't it funny that CBS has got a better moral compass? I mean, they might accept it now with new changes.
I've said it now again for the millionth time. I don't think it was a good thing that Fansly got promoted at the Streamer Award. This is once again me just defending myself from hypocrisy allegations, but there are real things you could criticize me for, like not making it clear enough in the beginning. That is something I do regret. I should have been a lot clearer with how I felt about it, and I feel like I missed the mark there. But hopefully all of this is cleared up exactly where I stand on all of it. I'm tired of her pretending.